Welcome to Daily Stoic Practice, your compass to navigate the complexities of modern life with ancient wisdom. Have you ever felt a heavy weight on your shoulders after just one conversation with someone? Or maybe, after spending time with certain people, you start questioning your own peace of mind? It's strange, isn't it? The people closest to us, our neighbors, or even family members, can sometimes be the ones who drain us the most. But why does this happen? Why do some relationships, instead of bringing comfort, leave us feeling exhausted? Why do they make us feel stressed or even betrayed? The truth is, not all connections are created equal. Some relationships lift us up, others slowly chip away at our mental and emotional well-being. Today, we're going to break the silence. This video is about uncovering those hidden forces of negativity, the manipulative neighbors, the self-serving relatives, the people who quietly disrupt your happiness. Together, we'll explore how these individuals impact your life. We'll learn to recognize the red flags, and most importantly, we'll talk about how to protect your peace without guilt. So buckle up. This isn't just about identifying toxic people. It's about reclaiming your happiness. It's about redefining your boundaries, and it's about stepping into a life of clarity and balance. Let's start close to home with your neighbors. Who among them might be quietly chipping away at your peace? Let's find out. Neighbors, they can be a source of joy, a comforting presence in your everyday life. But sometimes they're more like an unexpected storm on what was supposed to be a sunny day. Your home, your sanctuary, can either be a place of peace or a battlefield of frustration, depending on who lives next door. Not every neighbor adds positivity to your life. In fact, some might be quietly or not so quietly chipping away at your well-being. Let me explain further. Imagine walking into your home after a long, stressful day, ready to relax. Instead of peace, you're greeted by loud music, drama-filled conversations, or constant interruptions. Sounds exhausting, right? Let's dive into 3 types of neighbors you need to avoid to protect your peace. The gossipers. Picture this. They're like the self-appointed broadcasters of the neighborhood, always eager to know everything about everyone and even more eager to share it. These are the people who can turn a simple remark about your weekend plans into a neighborhood scandal. Imagine this scenario. You casually mention that you're thinking of redecorating your home. The next day, the entire block is buzzing with exaggerated tales. Did you hear? They're tearing down their whole house to build a mansion. The danger with gossipers isn't just their loose tongues, it's the unnecessary drama and misunderstandings they create. These people thrive on the thrill of spreading stories, not genuine curiosity or care. And the impact? Broken trust, strained relationships, and a whole lot of unnecessary stress. How do you handle them? Keep your distance. Be polite, but don't overshare. Avoid fueling their curiosity with personal details, and steer clear of their endless stories about others. The less you engage, the less power they have over your peace. Remember, you're under no obligation to satisfy their need for drama, especially when it comes at the expense of your well-being. Now, think about this. Have you ever had a neighbor who only shows up when they need something? These neighbors seem to have a radar for your availability. Need a favor? They're at your door. But when you're the one in need, suddenly they're too busy or nowhere to be found. Picture this. A neighbor borrows your tools, promising to return them in a few days. Weeks pass, and those tools are still missing, or they constantly ask for small favors, watering their plants, signing for packages, but when you need help, they vanish behind excuses. Over time, these interactions leave you feeling used and undervalued. It's as though the relationship exists only for their benefit. The solution? Boundaries. Clear, firm, unapologetic boundaries. Say no when their requests start feeling excessive or one-sided. Being neighborly doesn't mean being taken advantage of. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, not exploitation. So prioritize your time and energy, and don't hesitate to assert yourself. Helping others is great, but not at the cost of your peace of mind. Finally, let's talk about the neighbors whose very lifestyle feels like a disruption to your sanity. These are the ones hosting loud parties late into the night, leaving trash in shared spaces, or engaging in activities that make you question your safety and comfort. Imagine this. You come home after a long day, craving peace and quiet. Instead, you're met with blaring music, shouting, or the mess they've left behind. While they might not be directly targeting you, their actions spill over into your life, stealing the tranquility you deserve. So what can you do? Start by having a conversation. Approach them calmly and respectfully. Sometimes, people don't realize how their behavior affects others. But if the issues persist, don't hesitate to create distance. In extreme cases, you might even consider relocating to a more harmonious environment. Your home is your sanctuary, a place where you should feel safe, comfortable, and at ease. Don't let anyone rob you of that. Your living space is sacred. It's where you unwind, recharge, and find comfort. But when the wrong neighbors enter the picture, that peace can unravel. Whether it's the relentless gossipers, the demanding selfish neighbors, or those with chaotic lifestyles, the key is recognizing their impact and taking action. Now picture a garden thriving in rich, fertile soil. That's your life when surrounded by positive, supportive neighbors. But if weeds start taking over, choking the roots, it's time to clear them out. Life is too short to let someone else's noise, drama, or inconsideration disrupt your serenity. With these strategies, you can protect your peace and reclaim your home as the sanctuary it's meant to be. But neighbors aren't the only source of stress in our lives. Sometimes, the most toxic dynamics come from those we're bound to by blood. Yes, even family can test your boundaries in ways that challenge your happiness. Stay tuned, because what we're about to discuss next might hit closer to home than you'd expect. Family is often seen as the foundation of our lives, the people we turn to for joy, comfort, and support, the ones who we believe will always have our back. But let's pause for a moment and be honest. Not all family relationships are uplifting or healthy. In fact, some of the deepest stress and emotional strain come from those closest to us, people we share blood ties with. Now think about this. Just because someone is family doesn't mean they always have your best interests at heart. Sometimes, protecting your peace means taking a step back. Today, we're uncovering 3 types of relatives you should keep your distance from, not out of anger or resentment, but to safeguard your mental and emotional well-being. We've all heard the saying, never mix money and family. Unfortunately, it often rings true. Imagine a relative who treats your wallet like an ATM. At first, lending them money feels like an act of kindness. You might be helping a cousin start a business, assisting a sibling through a tough spot, or covering an unexpected expense for a parent. But then, things take a turn. Picture this. Your cousin borrows money for what they call an urgent need. A few weeks later, you find out they spent it on a luxury vacation. When you ask for repayment, they shrug it off or act offended, as if the problem is yours for asking. Let me explain further. These situations aren't just about the money, they're about trust. When someone borrows without the intention of repaying, they disregard your effort and your boundaries. It's emotionally draining. So, how do you handle it? Set clear boundaries before lending. Be upfront about expectations, whether that's a repayment plan or even deciding not to lend at all. And don't hesitate to say no if their financial habits seem reckless. Sometimes, helping doesn't mean giving money. It could mean offering advice or helping them find alternative solutions. Protect your peace, because no financial tie is worth your mental well-being. Now, let's talk about another challenging type, the self-serving relative. These are the ones who value you not for who you are, but for what you can do for them. Imagine this. They only call when they need a favor, expect gifts on every holiday, or show up uninvited when it's convenient for them. But when you're the one in need, suddenly, they're too busy or just out of reach. Think about it. How does it feel when a relationship is entirely one-sided? When your efforts and kindness are met with indifference or even entitlement? Over time, this dynamic isn't just draining, it's dehumanizing. Here's what you can do. Recognize the imbalance. Stop overextending yourself for someone who only takes without giving. It's okay to say no, especially when their demands start to feel exploitative. Relationships should be a two-way street, built on mutual care and respect, not one person constantly giving while the other keeps taking. Picture this. Your time and kindness are like a valuable resource. When someone takes too much without appreciating it, it's time to close the tap. By setting firm boundaries, you protect your peace and encourage them to reflect on their behavior. Finally, there's the relative who refuses to take responsibility for their own life. Whether it's financial dependence, lack of ambition, or emotional manipulation, this type of person leans heavily on others without making an effort to improve. Imagine this. Your sibling loses their job and moves back home. At first, you're happy to help. You cover their rent, buy their groceries, and even pay some bills. But weeks turn into months or even years. They sleep in late, avoid responsibilities, and treat your support as an entitlement. They show no signs of getting back on their feet. Now, think about this. Helping someone is meaningful only when it empowers them to grow. Constantly enabling laziness or dependency doesn't help, it traps them in a cycle of stagnation. So, what can you do? Start by setting expectations. Offer assistance that encourages independence, like helping them apply for jobs or create a budget. And don't be afraid to say no when their demands become excessive. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is to let someone face their challenges. As the saying goes, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. Now, let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Why is it so important to distance yourself from these types of relatives? Imagine walking away from every conversation feeling drained, frustrated, or undervalued. That's what toxic family dynamics do. They rob you of your peace, leave you questioning your self-worth, and drain your energy. Your peace of mind and emotional health are invaluable. Setting boundaries isn't about cutting people off. It's about prioritizing your well-being. Family relationships are important, but they should never come at the expense of your happiness. By identifying and addressing these toxic patterns, you're not only protecting yourself, but also creating space for healthier relationships to grow. Take a moment to reflect. Are there relatives in your life who fit these categories? Do their actions leave you feeling worse instead of better? If so, it's time to act. Not out of spite, but out of love for yourself. You deserve relationships that uplift, inspire, and support you, not ones that weigh you down. And here's a reminder. Saying no doesn't mean you're selfish. It means you value your peace and happiness enough to prioritize them. So start small. Set a boundary. Say no to a request. Spend less time with someone who drains you. These small steps can lead to big changes. Now that we've uncovered the family dynamics that can steal your peace, it's time to dive deeper. Let's explore the philosophy behind choosing healthy relationships and letting go of toxic ones. Because this isn't just about recognizing negativity, it's about transforming your life. Stay tuned. Life is a series of relationships. Each one has the power to influence your happiness, your growth, and the peace within your soul. But here's a truth many people struggle to accept. Not everyone who enters your life deserves to stay. Some relationships bring joy, while others leave you emotionally drained and hold you back from growing. And as hard as it might feel to let go, sometimes it's the most important act of self-care you can practice. Today, let's dive into the philosophy of choosing healthy relationships, a mindset that can transform the way you interact, the way you live, and how you create lasting happiness. Let's start with the foundation of every healthy relationship: boundaries. Picture boundaries as invisible fences that define your comfort zone. They aren't meant to shut people out, but to establish mutual respect. Think about this. Have you ever agreed to do something you didn't want to, just to avoid conflict? Maybe a family member keeps demanding your time, or a neighbor assumes you're always available to help. Without clear boundaries, these situations repeat, leaving you exhausted and resentful. Boundaries are your way of saying, this is what I can give, and this is where I need to hold back. Remember the saying, good fences make good neighbors. This doesn't just apply to the people next door, it's true for every relationship in your life. When you politely decline a request or gently explain that you need personal time, you're not just protecting yourself, you're teaching others how to respect you. Now, think about the people you've chosen to keep in your life. Your relationships are like the soil where you plant your life. If the soil is rich, supportive, and nurturing, you'll thrive. But if it's filled with negativity, criticism, or toxicity, you'll struggle to grow. Ask yourself, who lifts you up? Who makes you feel appreciated and inspired? These are the people you should treasure. They don't have to agree with everything you say, but their presence should feel like sunlight on a cold winter day, warm, energizing, and comforting. And what about those who constantly criticize you, diminish your worth, or make you feel heavy every time you're around them? Imagine leaving every conversation with them feeling like you're carrying a bag of rocks. The longer you stay in that energy, the more weighed down you'll feel. Here's the truth. Your environment shapes your growth. Surround yourself with people who uplift, support, and encourage you. And don't forget, be the kind of person who brings positivity to others too. Now we come to the hardest but most important part, letting go. We often hold on to toxic relationships out of guilt, obligation, or fear of confrontation. But here's something to remember. Not every relationship is meant to last forever. Some people enter your life as lessons, not lifelong companions. Letting go doesn't mean harboring anger or seeking revenge. It's an act of self-care, a recognition that a relationship is doing more harm than good. But how do you let go? Start by identifying the relationships that consistently make you feel worse instead of better. Then take small steps to create distance, limit contact, have an honest conversation, or prioritize your own needs over theirs. Letting go doesn't always mean cutting ties completely. Sometimes it's about redefining the relationship in a way that's healthier and more balanced. Picture this. When you let go of someone who brings negativity, you make room for better things in your life. You take control of your journey and your energy. When you combine these three principles, setting boundaries, surrounding yourself with positivity, and letting go of toxicity, you're building a life filled with balance and joy. Life is too short to spend in relationships that drain you. Choose carefully, protect your energy, and most importantly, don't feel guilty for putting your happiness and peace first. Now think about this. What boundaries do you need to set to protect your peace? Which relationships lift you up and which ones hold you back? Start small. Take one step today to prioritize your well-being, because the life you dream of is waiting for you to claim it. Final, practical tips for handling toxic people. Toxic relationships are like hidden traps in life. They creep in quietly, but leave you feeling drained, unappreciated, or even powerless. But here's the good news. You have more control than you think. With the right strategies, you can face these relationships with confidence. You can protect your energy and create space for more positive connections. Here are some practical steps to help you navigate toxic dynamics. The first step is recognizing toxic relationships. Toxic people don't always announce themselves. Their behavior often starts subtly, manipulation here, constant demands there, or an ongoing lack of respect. But your body and emotions will tell you when something isn't right. Imagine this. You leave a conversation feeling uneasy or exhausted, like their negativity has attached itself to you. That's your intuition talking. Start noticing patterns instead of isolated incidents. Do they constantly criticize you, even under the guise of helpful advice? Do they guilt trip you into doing things you don't want to do? Do they only reach out when they need something and disappear when you need support? If a relationship leaves you feeling more drained than fulfilled, it's time to take action. Second, dealing with toxic people requires clear communication. But let's be real, it's not always easy. Assertive communication doesn't mean being aggressive or confrontational. It's about expressing your feelings and needs clearly and respectfully. Here's a simple framework. Use I statements. Instead of saying, "You're always so selfish," try, "I feel unappreciated when my efforts go unnoticed." This shifts the focus from blame to your personal experience, making the conversation less defensive and more constructive. And don't forget to prepare. Toxic individuals often deflect responsibility or twist your words. Stay calm, stick to the facts, and avoid being drawn into unnecessary arguments. Remember, you're not responsible for their reaction. Some people may listen and adjust, while others might resist. Either way, your job is to speak your truth, not control their response. Next, build a supportive network. Surround yourself with positivity. Toxic people thrive in isolation, where they dominate your emotional space. But when you surround yourself with positive, supportive individuals, you create a buffer against their negativity. Invest in relationships that bring joy and strength to your life. Spend more time with people who celebrate your wins, listen when times are tough, and encourage your growth. And don't stop there. Be the person you want to attract. Kindness, empathy, and positivity are contagious. When you radiate those qualities, you naturally draw others who share the same energy. Next, sometimes the healthiest choice is to let go completely. This doesn't have to be dramatic. It might mean limiting contact, redefining the relationship, or creating boundaries that protect your peace. But in extreme cases, when a relationship is abusive or manipulative, a clean break might be necessary. Yes, it's hard. But remember, you deserve a life free from toxic ties. Finally, redirect your energy from fixing toxic relationships to investing in yourself. Whether it's pursuing a new hobby, learning a skill, or practicing mindfulness, these small steps can help you reclaim your peace and rebuild your confidence. When you focus on your growth, you naturally attract relationships that align with your values and energy. Toxic connections will no longer feel like a burden. They'll feel like a choice you no longer need to make. Toxic people are an unavoidable part of life, but they don't have to define your experience. By setting boundaries, surrounding yourself with positivity, and focusing on your growth, you can navigate even the toughest relationships with confidence and peace. Ask yourself, which relationships are holding you back? What small steps can you take today to create change? You deserve a life filled with positivity, support, and meaningful connections. Protect your peace and build the life you've always dreamed of. At the core of it all, relationships shape the foundation of our lives. They influence our happiness, balance, and sense of fulfillment. And yet, here's a truth that's both simple and profound. Prioritizing your mental and emotional well-being is not selfish, it's essential. Toxicity doesn't have to dictate your happiness. Whether it comes from a neighbor's constant disruptions or a relative's self-serving attitude, you hold the power to protect your peace. Your environment shapes your growth. Now, picture a plant thriving in rich, fertile soil. Its leaves are vibrant, its flowers bloom effortlessly. This is your life when surrounded by positive, supportive people. Your environment matters more than you think. Who lifts you up? Who challenges you to grow? Who makes you laugh on your hardest days? These are the people you need to keep close. On the other hand, think about someone who drains you. Imagine walking away from a conversation with them, your energy completely zapped. What would your life look like if you spent less time in that energy? Here's the truth. You don't just need positive people. You also need to be a source of positivity in return. Kindness and encouragement are contagious. When you radiate those qualities, you attract others who do the same. Together, you create a network of trust and inspiration, a fortress against negativity. So, what can you do right now? Start small. Take a moment to evaluate your relationships. Ask yourself, does this person bring light into my life or take it away? Do I feel energized or drained after spending time with them? If someone drains you, think about how you can create distance. Maybe it's as simple as saying no to their next request. Maybe it's having an honest, heartfelt conversation about how their actions affect you. Whatever the step, take it. And while you're doing this, don't forget to nurture the relationships that do matter. Send a kind message to a friend who's been there for you. Make plans with someone who inspires you. Invest in the people who make you feel alive, supported, and loved. Life is too short to spend tangled in negativity. By recognizing toxic behaviors, setting clear boundaries, and choosing to surround yourself with positivity, you're not just improving your relationships, you're transforming your entire life. A garden thriving in sunlight, a bridge that stands strong and connects two people with mutual respect. A network of love and encouragement that shields you from the storms of negativity. This can be your life. You have the power to create it. Protect your peace, honor your happiness, and remember, you are worth the effort it takes to build the life you deserve. cherish your peace. And never forget, you have the power to choose who gets a place in your life. If this resonates with you, please like and subscribe to Daily Stoic Practice and share your insights in the comments. Your thoughts may inspire others on their own journeys to inner peace and resilience. Don't miss our daily videos, insightful discussions, and practical tips for applying Stoic principles to your modern life.